Humans have not fully succeeded in mastering the science of biological nonlinear dynamics, because the complexity of biological systems far exceeds that of most systems studied in traditional physics and chemistry. Here are the key reasons. Unlike the simpler systems studied in physics and chemistry, biological systems exhibit emergent properties, behaviors or features that arise only when individual components interact in complex ways. These properties cannot be predicted by studying individual parts in isolation, requiring entirely new theoretical and experimental approaches. Biological systems rely on intricate feedback loops and nonlinear dynamics, where small changes can lead to disproportionate or unpredictable outcomes. This makes modeling and controlling such systems extremely difficult, as traditional linear approaches fail to capture these behaviors. Biological systems are highly sensitive to initial conditions, with small variations potentially leading to drastically different outcomes, the butterfly effect. While this sensitivity is essential for adaptability, it also introduces chaotic elements that make prediction and control nearly impossible using current methods. Biological matter spontaneously organizes into intricate structures like organs, neural networks, or ecosystems without external guidance. The rules governing this self-organization are not fully understood, as they involve countless interactions at multiple levels, each influenced by genetic, chemical, and environmental factors. Biological systems are not static. They evolve and adapt over time, constantly changing their internal dynamics and external interactions. While advances in computational biology have improved modeling capabilities, the data required to fully understand and simulate biological systems is vast and often incomplete. The combination of multi-scale complexity, nonlinear interactions, emergent properties, and the dynamic, adaptable nature of biological systems creates a level of complexity that surpasses what traditional scientific methods and theories can handle. Progress in this field requires not just better tools, but also fundamentally new ways of thinking about and modeling life's intricate system.
Part 1. Introduction to Nonlinear Dynamics in Biology. Nonlinear dynamics govern systems where the relationships between inputs and outputs are complex, often leading to emergent phenomena such as self-organization, oscillations, chaos, and bifurcations. Biological systems inherently exhibit nonlinearity due to their intricate feedback mechanisms, multi-scale interactions, and sensitivity to initial conditions. These dynamics explain how biological systems can maintain robustness while allowing for adaptability and innovation. Nonlinearity is crucial for understanding phenomena like enzymatic reactions with cooperative effects, population growth with resource constraints, and even the synchronization of cellular activities within tissues. Biological systems are nonlinear because of properties such as non-additivity. Biological systems are nonlinear because of properties such as non-additivity, where combined effects differ from the sum of individual effects, threshold effects, abrupt changes when certain parameters are exceeded, and feedback loops, both positive and negative. These properties make biological systems highly sensitive, yet capable of maintaining coherence and functionality. Example: in gene regulation networks, the interplay between transcription factors, enhancers, and repressors leads to threshold-dependent gene expression patterns. Nonlinearities here allow cells to make binary decisions, such as whether to activate or silence specific genes. Analogy: nonlinear dynamics in biology are akin to weather systems. While individual factors, temperature, pressure, have predictable behaviors, their interactions lead to emergent patterns like hurricanes or snowstorms. The butterfly effect, a hallmark of chaos theory, illustrates how infinitesimally small differences in initial conditions can result in drastically divergent outcomes. In biological systems, this phenomenon explains how small molecular changes can cascade through networks, amplifying over time and space to drive substantial phenotypic or ecological shifts. The butterfly effect highlights the sensitivity of biological systems and their reliance on precise regulation to prevent chaotic breakdown. The effect is particularly significant in developmental biology, where tiny variations in signaling molecules during embryogenesis can determine cell fate, tissue formation, and even organismal morphology. Similarly, in ecosystems, minor changes in population densities or resource availability can shift predator-prey dynamics or species distributions. Example: the concentration of a morphogen, a signaling molecule, in an embryo can trigger different gene expression patterns depending on slight variations in gradient steepness. These changes might define whether a cell becomes part of the nervous system or the skin. Analogy: the butterfly effect in biology is like adjusting the trajectory of a rocket by millimeters at launch. Over time, this minute alteration determines whether the rocket reaches its intended target or veers into an entirely different orbit. Strange attractors describe the long-term behavior of chaotic systems that appear disordered but are confined within a bounded structure in phase space. In biological systems, these attractors explain how systems achieve dynamic stability despite their chaotic tendencies. They are pivotal in understanding rhythmic processes like circadian rhythms, cardiac cycles, neural oscillations, and even ecological population cycles. Strange attractors emerge due to the balance of feedback mechanisms and external influences, ensuring that while the system may appear irregular, it remains functionally robust. This concept is crucial for interpreting biological signals that are neither completely periodic nor random. Example: irregular heart rhythms, such as those observed in atrial fibrillation, can be mapped to strange attractors. This mathematical insight helps identify patterns in seemingly chaotic electrocardiogram (ECG) data and predict transitions to life-threatening states. Analogy: strange attractors are like a boomerang in turbulent winds. It appears unpredictable, but remains bounded by the laws of aerodynamics, eventually returning to a predictable path. Bifurcations represent points in nonlinear systems where a small parameter change leads to a qualitative shift in behavior. In biology, bifurcations often mark critical decision points, such as transitions between cell states, evolutionary trajectories, or ecological equilibria. These phenomena occur due to threshold effects where molecular, genetic, or environmental changes push systems into new operational modes. Bifurcations are key to understanding biological diversity and adaptability. For example, the differentiation of pluripotent stem cells involves bifurcations, where slight differences in signaling molecule concentrations determine cell fate. In evolution, bifurcations in adaptive landscapes explain how populations shift between fitness peaks under changing environmental pressures. Example: in a B-stable genetic toggle switch, the relative concentrations of two competing repressors determine whether a cell enters one of two stable states. Small molecular changes act as bifurcation triggers, dictating cell fate. Analogy: bifurcations in biology are like choosing a route at a fork in the road. A small decision or force determines the ultimate path, leading to entirely different destinations. Feedback loops are central to nonlinear dynamics, where positive feedback amplifies deviations, while negative feedback dampens them to maintain stability. These loops are ubiquitous in biology, underpinning processes like metabolic regulation, hormonal control, and immune responses. The interplay of feedback mechanisms creates complex behaviors such as oscillations, e.g. circadian rhythms, or bistability, e.g. gene regulatory circuits. Nonlinear feedback ensures that biological systems can adapt dynamically to environmental changes while preserving internal stability. For example, in homeostasis, nonlinear feedback regulates physiological parameters like body temperature and pH within narrow ranges despite external perturbations. Example: calcium signaling relies on a combination of positive feedback to amplify calcium release and negative feedback to restore baseline levels, resulting in oscillatory calcium waves critical for cell communication. Analogy: feedback loops in biology are like a cruise control system in a car, where acceleration, positive feedback, and braking, negative feedback, dynamically adjust to maintain a desired speed. Self-organization refers to the spontaneous emergence of order and structure from interactions among individual components without external direction. This principle is a hallmark of nonlinear systems and explains many biological phenomena, including tissue formation, neural network connectivity, and ecosystem dynamics. Emergent properties, novel features that arise at higher levels of organization, are a direct consequence of self-organization. Self-organized patterns arise from nonlinear interactions among local agents following simple rules. For instance, chemical gradients in cell signaling interactions during embryonic development lead to the formation of complex organ systems. The robustness of self-organized systems lies in their ability to adapt and reconfigure in response to perturbations. Example: the spontaneous formation of spiral wave patterns in cardiac tissue during arrhythmias arises from self-organizing interactions between pacemaker cells and ion currents. Analogy: self-organization is like flocks of birds forming coordinated flight patterns, where each bird follows simple rules based on its neighbors, resulting in complex, large-scale behaviors. Chaos theory in ecosystems describes how deterministic rules governing species interactions can result in unpredictable outcomes due to nonlinearity and sensitivity to initial conditions. These chaotic dynamics create resilience by redistributing resources and stabilizing populations under varying conditions. However, ecosystems are also prone to collapse if disturbances exceed critical thresholds. Example: predator-prey cycles between lynx and snowshoe hares exhibit chaotic fluctuations, influenced by resource availability, predation rates, and climate variability. Analogy: chaos in ecosystems is like walking a tightrope in a shifting wind. Small adjustments can stabilize or destabilize the system, depending on timing and intensity. Fractal geometry, characterized by self-similarity across scales, is a product of nonlinear dynamics in biological systems. Fractal structures optimize efficiency by maximizing surface area while minimizing resource use, making them ideal for functions like nutrient transport, gas exchange, and neural connectivity. The branching patterns of blood vessels, bronchioles, and plant roots are all examples of fractal architecture. Fractal structures also provide resilience, allowing systems to maintain functionality despite damage or scaling. For instance, fractal branching in vascular networks ensures efficient oxygen delivery across tissues, even under varying physiological demands. Example: the fractal organization of alveoli in the lungs maximizes surface area for gas exchange while minimizing structural material, ensuring efficient oxygen uptake. Analogy: fractals in biology are like Russian nesting dolls. Each layer mirrors the previous one, creating scalable efficiency. Understanding nonlinear dynamics in biology has transformative implications for medicine and technology. By identifying bifurcation points, clinicians can predict and prevent critical transitions in disease states, such as the onset of cardiac arrhythmias or epileptic seizures. Self-organization principles inspire bioengineered materials and adaptive technologies that mimic biological resilience. Chaos theory provides insights into stabilizing ecosystems and preventing epidemics. Computational models of tumor progression predict when cells transition from benign to invasive states, guiding early interventions and targeted therapies. Analogy: applying nonlinear dynamics to medicine is like using weather models to anticipate and mitigate storms, leveraging insights into small-scale interactions to prevent large-scale disasters.